I will do a roll call. We have all trustees present. Trustee O'Connor and trustee Helmel are here. If I could ask for a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes from the November 19th, 2025 meeting,
So moved.
and I'll second it. Any discussion on the minutes?
I'm at a meeting, call your father. I'm at a meeting, call your father.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor to approve those, say aye.
Right.
Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried.
Just for future, if you want to, like how the last couple.
Or subsets? of-
Yeah, if you wanna do that,
Yes, that's fine.
just, I meant to say that the last, couple, I never do.
We can, yeah, copy the form of. There are anybody online, any public comment?
Nope.
Okay. Chairperson comments, I do not have any at this time. I have a couple of items under, old business, new business, but, moving on to number 7, update on DMI.
So DMI update, first of the year, I sent an email over to representatives from DMI. I did include the village president in that, just welcome them a new year, looking for update on anything that was going on with the property projects, or any way we could help be involved with anything going on in the upcoming 2026 year, and I did not hear any response back. And then, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got a call from Jewel Engineering. If you remember, last year I said I seen some Jewel Engineering vehicles driving around the site. Jewel Engineering was wondering if I've heard from DMI, because they were trying to get a hold of DMI to, start the dialogue on some questions and answers that they were on the property working on, to get back to them. And I said I did not have any contact with DMI since then. So, that's kind of where that is at this point.
When's the last time you've heard from DMI?
I talked to Stacy from DMI in early December was the last time I talked to her, after we had the quotes for the demos and things back. She did acknowledge those and said they'd be looking at them.
Thank you.
So I will, obviously with taxes and a few things coming up here in February, we'll have an update next month if they made their first payment of their property taxes on the property. I'll bring that back to you guys next month.
Okay. They are due January 31st, just like.
First installation, yep.
So I have a couple of questions. Is the ad hoc committee kind of on hold pattern?
I was gonna bring that up under old business, but we can discuss it
We
now.
can right now, yeah, just cause there's really nothing,
It's on hold from my standpoint. I was gonna bring it up under old business, but there's really no way to move DMI forward in that. So I don't know if there's any use in meeting unless we just meet to update the individuals that there's nothing going on.
that could be an email at that point.
Okay, and
Yeah, but that's kind of my thought process too, like why meet if there's
yeah,
nothing,
I hear you.
unless we're gonna spend a bunch of money.
Yeah,
legally.
just curious. And then the second thing, we had talked before, the ad hoc committee had suggested maybe we go to a couple of places that had something similar. Is that still an active idea? One, and two, the other idea was, should we consider doing something in media about kind of where we are and what we're trying to do? And is that kind of debunked or put on hold as well?
I think Janesville was an area that we could go to and look at. I think we can definitely look at that. I think this was basically back in September when it started, and they were within their budget process and things like that. So I think now that they're slowing down their budget process, I could reach out to Janesville and see if, there'd be a group of people that would want to go down to Janesville or put a teams meeting together to have a discussion. I think
it would be worthwhile to set up we could do teams or we could do an in-person visit. I don't care, with them to at least bounce ideas off, and if they can give us any direction on what tactics we can use. I think that would be a good idea. Anything else?
No, I recommend not taking any action on a immediate thing at this point, but I still think that's something of option. Because, people might want to know what we're trying to do and where we're getting stuck in a more public way, but that's for discussion later. It's not,
I think a meeting might be a useful tool, once we have more uh, ammunition for, information.
I can also talk to Jean Mansavage, who would help.
Yeah.
She kind of really has a really good timeline of how, what we've
Cool,
done.
that would
and
be
all
great.
So I can reach out to her just
Yeah.
to see if, I know she's gonna be if you cut this.
Yeah. and my thing about more information is like, no communication is information.
Correct.
It's sending a
I know
message.
I know response is a
Yeah,
response.
exactly.
Radio silence is very telling.
Thank you.
So I think, yes, it might be worthwhile, once we get a little bit more information on possibly Janesville, to have a resurrect the ad hoc committee, at least get them an update.
Hmm.
So,
I'd volunteer to be part of that if you want or needs somebody.
What is,
at
what's the
this-
change that was, this, somebody that
The-
they dealt with this issue or something, or?
Yeah.
they had a old
GM.
automotive, go ahead.
Sorry, they had an old GM plant where it was kind of like the same type of, it was stagnant, there wasn't a whole lot of cooperation, if you will, in the beginning, and they kind of ended up being successful in it. I think their situation is still different than ours in a lot of different ways, but I mean, it doesn't help to try to,
How do you repurpose an old shut down industrial site? And that's what they worked through that process. And we're trying to do the same thing with the old Domtar mill.
Yep.
So, mill, to try to repurpose it. So there's really, three different properties in that area that will be coming probably through this committee. The YMCA property, which is being demoed, and that's action I was gonna bring up later,
Yep.
but then the admin building and research center is owned by Wood County, the admin building, other half is owned by EMI. So that's another parcel, and then the old mill proper. So those three properties, we're trying to get some traction to see how we can resurrect them into something productive for the community.
Yeah, I've been doing some just side stuff myself and had some people reach out to him just to see, business wise and notify. So,
Thank you.
And then we formed an ad hoc committee because we've had meetings with the DNR, we've had meetings with various entities. And then Janesville is another resource. So then we formed an ad hoc committee trying to see if there's a way. You really can't take it back. Do we really want the property if we take it back, or do they just try to give them more time or try to work with them to get it developed? Ultimately, we would like DMI to demo it, get it ready and get it into repurpose it. So,
but that, the delta, 2.3 or 2.1 million delta, that's gonna be rough for anybody trying to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
significant
okay.
difference.
So I thank you for the update on TMI. Number 8, 160 Market.
So 160 Market, all the repairs have been made, like I presented to you guys in December. Been over there a couple of times, keep an eye on the building, do not want to see it go in any condition that it was. They did reach out to me about having some discussions. We do have all the ordinance violations still active. And I basically, in the conversation, told them I have no interest to any discussions on waiving or doing anything. Those that go through the police department, I don't have that authority. I can make recommendations and have a conversation, but I would not have the conversation until I've seen a business plan for the future. I don't want to see that building go back in the condition it was. It's unfair to the other neighboring businesses in that, building. So at this point, he's supposed to be getting me a business plan of what the future looks like that before we have any discussion moving forward with any ordinance violations or anything like
What
that.
would the course of action from the village be about those ordinance violations? How would that, how we take action on that? Would it come through this committee?
It will not come through a committee. That is all through the police department. We don't, it's all I can do is make a recommendation to the police department to ask them, and they have the authority to, like was presented in the last meeting. At the end of the day, the cops have all authority to to
Okay,
decline them or keep them in place. So all I can do is make a
yeah,
recommendation.
I'm just trying to understand the process.
Yep.
Yep, that's fine. Okay,
It's a real nice property. They did it, I mean, I will say they did a great job updating it. I mean, new roof, clean the inside and it's, so I'm hoping that they can find.
do you have access to that facility?
Yes, I always call them to let them know that
Okay.
I'm gonna be going into their building.
It might be useful. I would like to see what the state of repair is. So thank you. Anything else on 160 Market? That's, good news that they've, refurbished it. So hopefully they have a business plan that's acceptable. Number 9, discussion of possible motion to approve ordinance number 4, police department updates. I will go through the changes that were put in place. Looking through. There is an omission on 4.02.1, number 3. From the previous version to this version. The chief shall obey all lawful written orders. So the previous version had shall in there, this version does not. I'm okay with just adding that. If we go to approval or to pass it on. The other changes are 4.03. The terminology used to read each officer, number 1, each officer of the department shall, what did it say before?
Possess the power.
Shall possess the powers conferred upon the marshals. And yeah, it's right there. Have the authority, the new verbiage is shall have the authority conferred upon marshals and constables. This came through our attorney apps. And number 2, under 4.03. The chief of police and any police officer shall arrest any person was the old verbiage. And it now reads shall have the authority
Yeah.
to arrest.
That's good.
So they've got some discretion. The other change is 4.04. In accordance with state statute, the old verbiage 66.1019 subsection 1. That is the wrong one. That was something to do with housing codes. The correct state statute should be, and it should have the S state statute symbol in front of that, 66.0313. So we should leave the state statute connotation in there. Those were the changes to this in this version. Are there any? I guess I would like a motion to approve it, and then we can have discussion. I guess I will make a motion to approve chapter 4 of the village ordinances with the changes as described that I just went through. There a second?
Okay, can I second question, point of order?
Mhm.
May I second this and at the same time,
We could have
make an
discussion.
amended motion to add, to change a word?
You can second it, we can have discussion, you can explain why what you want to change, and then you can make an
Thank you.
amended motion.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Second,
Okay, thank you. Now discussion. I was trying to get to the discussion point so you could talk. Because they couldn't have discussion until we had a motion,
Formalities.
right? Am I correct?
Yes. you're
Okay. I was trying to get to the discussion point.
correct.
Trustee Hummel. Now,
thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that.
okay,
So in a moment of, looking at every word this time, I looked at, 4.02.1. Number 4, and it said the chief shall cause the public peace to be preserved. I get, okay, actually, I just reread it differently than before. So I'm gonna withdraw any concern about that. But I will note that, in 4.03 for police officers, there's a line that says that they shall preserve the public police, and I think that makes a distinction between what the police chief um,
Oh.
does, as opposed to them enacting what the police chief does. So actually now I'm fine with it,
Okay,
because I,
If you read, yeah,
yeah,
I can see where it can,
to be preserved.
and each officer down below shall.
And then they will preserve what,
They're the doers.
yeah, got it. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm
It
glad
was
we
just a
could help.
moment of, wouldn't call it dementia, I would call it.
Senior,
rainfall.
I.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Any other discussion? So the motion is to approve as I documented previously. I would ask that this be, I'll give you this copy and then we can have it corrected for, if we pass this, to have a corrected copy at the village board meeting. So all in favor of approving chapter 4 of the village ordinances as changed and discussed in this committee meeting, they signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. This will be moved on to the board for approval. Thank you. Number 10 on the agenda is chapter 6, administrative review. You have it in your packet. It was not online. It is now online. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I ask that for next, meeting that we review this, come back with any changes. Is there any discussion on it in its current state?
Just for clarification, 6.06, when it says conflicting code provisions, we're talking about the 6.01 through 6.04 potential conflicts. Is that what code means?
So basically, this position, these procedures often required by state statute often infer are basically non-judicial way to review administrative actions such as code violations, parking tickets, and zoning decisions before they are finalized. So I believe that is what they're talking about.
So
Where were you reading that
I
from?
was looking at 6.06.
I know,
Right,
but that is what the basically administrator review per procedure, that's really what is put in place for. Basically,
Where were you reading that from?
that's basically, if you look on the internet of what the administrative review procedure,
Then
why villages put it in place, and that is why.
can you repeat what you said then?
Villages establish ordinances, administrative review procedures to ensure fairly, orderly, and constitutional enforcement of local laws while providing a due process to individuals affected by municipal decisions. These procedures, often required by state statute, offer an efficient, non-judicial way to review administrative actions such as code violations, parking tickets, zoning decisions before they are finalized. So that if you look at 601, it's kind of giving what the purpose of having administrative review procedure in place.
This is if somebody wanted to complain to us using the state's code.
Yeah, chapter 68 of the
Yep.
state statutes.
Right.
68.08, it kind of looks like.
So I guess your question there, I know I got off tangent a little bit, Eric, but I think it's to do with all codes, I do believe. you know.
And by what we mean by codes is everything above that?
I think actually all codes within the village.
if we can get clarification from Nick on it, just because when I was new to the board and I got asked like, well, what does this? Cause I think I was put on the administrative review board or whatever. And it was in case when we had admit like Boz or whoever was in that seat, in case they are not upholding or not doing their job, then somebody could complain like, hey, he's not doing his job, and it could be because of these things, like, right, conflict of interest, like, I'm gonna ignore all. Let's say I was the village administrator and I bought a chunk of land and I was like, I'm going to just sign all of these pieces of paper to give me, I don't have to do the building codes and all that kind of stuff.
Not
But that
follow
would
the
be,
code.
not follow the codes
Codes.
appropriately, so then somebody could call, yeah, So not,
Pete.
so then somebody can call that and,
So my suggestion is, can you verify with Attorney Abst that, that is what it's supposed to be
Right.
doing?
I mean,
And,
I would like to know too, because if it's not my understanding, I wanna know it right.
and in reference to his question on what 6.06, if it's just referring to this or all.
All
codes.
code, yeah,
Then we can come back,
I would believe it'd be all, any code to do, but
Right.
I'll verify that and I get back. to
then
you.
we can have that, and
I would like to know
we'll
what it
take
is.
a look through next, at next meeting, we'll go through it, and I will hopefully get through some of the state statute codes and all that.
Yeah.
So, thank you for a review for next, that's gonna be on the agenda items is chapter 6. Okay. Cool. Old business.
So if you're okay, Chairman Hess, I'd like to just give a little bit, on the wake boat.
Yes, please.
So obviously I've been, we've had this discussion through our committees, also been following all our other local municipalities, throughout the state and our surrounding area where everybody's at on this. Rome just had a meeting last week, to discuss their wake boat ordinance. They actually brought to the board had a ordinance in front of them that was drafted. I'm pretty sure it was from themselves. From the language I get, they're trying to make a bipartisan, basically, ordinance that, we had they had different people coming just like we did from all the sides, information, but trying to create an ordinance that wasn't either way, their own ordinance. So basically at this point, Rome has asked their legal to review their ordinance, go through it all, make sure it's more directed to impact what the Rome Lakes area has, with violations, pricing, how they're gonna enforce what they're gonna do. I do have a draft copy that I can send you guys after this meeting if you like,
Yes, please.
on what they had. But the long and the short is they had a draft copy at their meeting. It did not get passed. It got sent back to legal to, go through and look it over. But, there's been a lot of different organizations that have come, pro, cons, and for all this, and I think from what I gather from them is that they're really trying to turn it into Rome board to making the ordinance, and they're the ones that are putting together with a little bit of help from everybody, but at the end of the day, they're putting their name on it with their legal is kind of where I think they are at.
So just for clarification for me, so they're taking, right, because you had one entity over here, one entity over here, they're kind of taking like, here are the concerns from residents or whoever. They're taking some of the suggestions from here and some of the suggestions from here, kind of intertwining them to see what works for them.
Yeah, it's because when I think I got presented here, when we brought, basically a company came in and kind of presented an ordinance and a whole package to our committee of what we could do. And that's where this took off from our board, right? That's how this all got started. We got a presentation. I believe that came in from, to start with, and then we had different
You did?
conversations. I thought we had a resident bring in, basically a policy
Oh,
that came.
the draft ordinance.
ordinance that-
Draft ordinance
Correct,
came
yeah.
out of one entity.
Yeah, so here's where I really applaud Rome. Each lake is different. And I think to say, let's make the ordinance fit our situation. Because the other one they were working with is one that was pitched for, here's how you do it, here's the boilerplate. And I think there's value in addressing what makes sense from this lake and the data that we've gotten from multiple sources. So I applaud Rome for taking the time to do that.
So like I said, I'll send that over to you. It's a draft copy. I mean, I think we need, and see where it goes.
I kind of like to see where theirs goes, because right, they have a bigger lake, it's a little bit different, but just seeing like the different processes too. But I do like how Rome is. They're not just taking the cookie cutter. This is what this lake did, so let's just force it into what we want. It's kind of okay, but
Yeah.
this might not work for us, but this does. So
Yeah.
trying to do that, I like that, actually.
I agree. So moving the whole business, the whole wake boat or wake boat ordinance issue, we need to resurrect. We need to look at having the town meeting.
Mhm.
So I think you said you were going to try to set that up.
Yep, I'll work with Ben to figure out,
Okay.
because my concern is we might not have enough room in this space. To do that, so it might be over at Edwards Alexander, or if we have to go somewhere else to school, even the library's got, in Rapids, it's got some bigger space. To help accommodate that.
And then, we're working on agenda, so
Yep.
we get, and then coming out of that, I think this committee needs to make a decision whether we're gonna work towards an ordinance. At least drafting an ordinance that was applicable for
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
area. And then trying to see whether we can move it out of committee, because first time we gotta have an ordinance that we have to all look at and then potentially agree on. And then if it does, then we'll vote on it, try to get it out of committee, and then it'll go to the board. Then, like we said before, that doesn't mean it's going anywhere or not, because 2 of the 3 municipalities on that lake have to agree to it to get it enacted, Rich, so.
I'll send you over, yeah, with their draft ordinance that they have. I will send it over to you guys.
Okay,
Another point of order, so if something in a committee, can the committee recommend it? A decision be brought to the whole board without making a motion to approve or to kill a motion?
So that, okay, so you're saying if we would make the recommendation to go to the board, but we
Yeah.
didn't vote on it.
We recommend we recommend this action be taken by the whole board, not by just the committee.
Are you saying because we don't necessarily, let's say we didn't wanna pass anything hardened for ours, what if we wanted to put some ideas forward to the other 3 and then come up with the entire plan, and then the board votes on that in conjunction with all players on the
Is
list?
that what you're saying?
That's what I was taking from you.
Correct.
So we don't have to pass anything that we're saying, we're just saying, hey, let's put it up, let's put this forward to the other 2 people on the lake, the other 2 groups.
Yeah.
And see if we can come up with something that then our board could vote on that, or we could vote on that and then bring it to the board for final approval from our side. But that way it's one plan kind of going up both
Right.
sides, it's going up
But
all the
here's-
different.
Here's the concern, based on the conversations I've had, is one entity doesn't even wanna participate in the town hall type of meeting. So that's already like, and we'd have to work with the other one. So the original thought was, and this is, with working with Ben and trying to see what we can do, and this is the space concern I have, right? Is I would set a date and say, hey, this is when we are gonna have this discussion. So residents from this area, or not, I guess, are gonna come and put in their input. We want you, 2 other municipalities, as players in this. I want you guys to come and hear the same information, hear the same messages, hear all of that. But then all of those municipalities have to go back to their municipalities and then make that decision. And then, but it's all gotta be the same kind of language. So what the next step is after that town meeting, we have to come back as a committee, this committee, and I would invite the entire board too. I wouldn't just invite PLP committee. I'd say, hey, for the entire board's
There you go.
health, right? So that, again, they're hearing the same messages, hearing the same, all of that. But then come back to committee and see if we're gonna go anywhere with it or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the other thing is, this group could vote on having a ordinance drafted, right?
Right.
we could,
Without necessarily voting to approve it.
you could, this committee could say, hey, look, we are gonna work on a draft. And then this committee, essentially Rick, would have to go to those other municipalities, and be like, this is the draft that we have created. Would you guys want this draft? Cause it's gotta be the same draft or the same ordinance, correct? In order for it to pass.
They'd have to see it and agree to get on board,
So
correct?
like they have to agree to the same verbiage to be in their ordinance. So there's just a lot of moving pieces with it. So I think ultimately we would have to come back. Are we interested? So we could, as the committee, say, you guys as the committee could say, we want to create we want to work on an ordinance for this. You can bring it to the board and the board, like, let's say the rest of the board members say, we're not interested. Well, then
Nice.
it kind of dies, because you're not, because you also don't want to put in a ton of effort into something if the majority is like.
That's why I feel like if it's something basic that we could put together, it's gonna go through the sausage making process no matter
Right.
what.
Yeah, well, we have a draft of a boilerplate, I think is what got presented. And there's a little bit of baggage with the group who did the boilerplate, who's the best well-known because they're as equally disparaging of the other side. Both sides are disparaging of each other.
Right.
And they're equally disparaging, and I know, when we first dealt with that group at the, Lakes and Rivers Convention, a couple of people in our Lake District said, no, I can't work with those people. We like the idea of an ordinance, but not necessarily them. So we even have that within the thing as well. So long story short, I don't want to use the Lost Alliance draft. That would be
So
my
that's-
position.
And that's the other thing is we can, I think the plan of action, the next steps, if you will, should be, we'll have the town meeting. Everybody can hear all the things. This committee can come back and be like, are we going to or aren't we going to? And then to work on a draft. Bring it back to the board. Do you have our permission? Essentially.
To draft an
To
ordinance.
draft an ordinance, right?
And then,
Cause I would hate, this is why I would ask the board's permission, right? Is because I would hate for this committee to work on it really hard, other municipalities to work on it really hard to make it work, and then it gets to the board and be like, never mind, we don't want,
Yeah,
we're voting it down.
so
Right?
the motion out of committee would be the motion to draft an ordinance that would go to the board for approval to draft the ordinance.
if that's what we decide to do after
Yeah.
a public.
I'm gonna ask, like, I'm gonna ask either Nick or Joe, like, do we even have to make a motion, or is it, can I bring it up in president's report, hey, or in PLP committee readout, hey, this is our plan, what are your thoughts around the table? Cause we don't have to officially vote on it, but then we can still get the feel of,
The entire board should give their nod to
Right.
that, and the other piece of that,
I'm just thinking of like formality wise.
correct, you gotta follow the Robert's Rules of Order.
Right.
The other
Well-
missing, let me just add one thing, the other missing piece is the entire board does not have all the
Right.
information that we've sat through in gruesome detail of what the issue is with the wake boats.
And that's,
So
needs
how
to
do
be
we
in that
get,
town board or town hall type
if they
meeting,
attend?
if they attend, and if they don't, quite frankly, that's on them. If they wanna
Okay.
make a decision based off of,
We just
What
need to make
information
sure
they
they
do.
have the right, enough information to
That's why the
be
entire board-
knowledgeable in that.
yeah, that's why the entire
Sorry.
board would be invited to come to
Yeah.
that.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the reason why I'm raising this is not only about this ordinance,
Mhm.
but when we get into discussions about budget, my question is, does each of those subcommittees have to approve a portion of the budget before it comes to the board, or can they look at it, offer their point of view without, and recommend that the entire board take a look at it? And here's why. Say there's a, request for a budget piece, and on a committee with, 3 board members, 2 of them say, no way. But if they went to the whole board, you've got the whole board there, and, maybe there are enough people on the board that would go, well, 4-2 would say yes, but it would never get to the board.
So how that happens, if that would happen, right? I know this is a little bit off topic than wake votes, but just for procedural purposes, if that would happen, right? Let's say that dies 2-1. You can go to the other board members, or you can ask. Essentially, if the, what's it called, the
You get majority, basically, at the end of the
majority,
day.
super majority to contact me or whoever and say, we want this, we feel strongly this way, we want this on the board agenda, that can overrule going on the agenda.
So the minority can always go
You can-
back to the main
Yeah.
board and
Yeah.
readdress an issue in order to bring it up.
If something gets killed at committee, you can
Right.
still make it.
Right,
to
so
the-
like at the board level, let's say this would happen. it gets to be trustee comment and you can say, hey, this is what happened. I don't feel like this was fairly looked at. I would like support in order to get this on the village board thing. So then I can either decide to do a committee of the whole meeting. Okay, we're all gonna sit around the table and do it, or I can put it on the agenda. Like
Yeah.
I, as the village president, still have that authority to do that at some point. I mean, now, if you bring that up in that meeting in trustee comment, I still want this and it's crickets from everybody else. Then that's kind of like, right, it's, if nobody else is voicing their opinion either publicly or privately to put it on here. Then that's kind of where it would die at that point.
Great, I don't wanna pursue this anymore, but I just
No.
wanna tell you, I have not read anything in Robert's Rules of Order that says everything has to go to a subcommittee and voted on there to get to the entire board. I'm just saying, and that's replicated. I know that's what
Right,
the county does, but, by Lance Plimmel, he said, however, if
however,
a board supervisor wants to make a motion by themselves, that's permitted to do.
there's always the howevers, right? And that's just how we have it set up and we have our ordinances set up a certain way too. So, but yes, there's always exceptions to the rules.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to have an exception to the rule, I would ask, and this is just for anybody, like, email Nick apps. What we can legally do, and then just CC me on it so that it's not, I'm not blindsided, essentially.
Yeah, the normal procedure is things to come through committee
Right.
to the board.
What,
If there are extenuating circumstances or exceptions, then we just need to follow the right procedures. I'm sure there's a procedure to do that.
Yeah. That's how it's always been explained to me. Could that be wrong? Sure,
Can we find out and just verify that procedure? How something
we
is,
can,
how,
and I could either,
I guess what I'm hearing is if someone's killed in committee, is there a chance to still get it to the board? How do we do it?
there is,
Right?
well.
when the supermajority
or-
comes in.
or- Yeah, I guess the question is it required by Robert's Rules of Order that a subcommittee vote on whether or not to pass a motion to go to the whole board, or can they recommend that it go to the whole board without a motion coming out of the subcommittee? Let's just get an opinion.
And I'll work with Nick. I mean, basically and that's why the chairman the agenda items that get put on the committees come through the chairman. Anybody that wants anything on there and what goes through the chairman, just like if it went on the village board agenda, it goes through Betsy. So my question to Nick will be is how can trustees, if we get other stuff on the board agenda? Basically, that's what you're asking, how we get stuff on the board
Going
agenda.
belongs to the committee, not necessarily
Go
around,
around, but
right,
Can a trustee make a motion? There's two pieces to this, what I'm hearing. Now,
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong. What Ben said is true, that the committee chairman finalizes the agenda. The president finalizes the agenda of the board meeting.
Mhm.
Now, if she wants to allow a motion to be made, she could put it on the board meeting agenda. If not, is a trustee allowed to make a motion if it's not on the agenda? That's a question that I think I'm hearing.
yes,
And I
That's
don't
how-
know
that's
that,
how I'm
because
understanding.
usually you've gotta have it on the agenda to make, my understanding, it's gotta have the motion on the
I
agenda.
mean, I think that is the preferred method, I guess, and that's how it's always been run. That's how Joe did it before, and that's just how it's always been. Now, we can always see if it's
well, yeah,
right.
Is that what I might?
Yeah, and I know where Eric, I'll try to relate to Nick and get an answer, and this is all something I think that Betsy's working with when after the election is bring Nick back in, because I think there's some questions and some procedure stuff that I think after the election's done in April, when the new board and the new committees are put together, that we can have some of these questions answered, because I've kind of hear the same questions over and over, so.
that sounds good. I also want to send all of you just, what I've read from Robert's Rules of Order about resolutions and motions, because I think we have been given advice that resolutions don't really mean that much. And they can be just excused, and actually, that's not what Robert's Rule of Order said. Every resolution includes a motion. And not every motion includes a resolution, so in effect, you can't just throw away a motion without taking some action. So we want, and bring that up because I think we got to get rid of that resolution about how much money we,
Yeah, we have a couple resolutions that are passed by previous boards that
yeah.
we asked the questions and.
I just think there's an official way to move off of those as opposed to say, yeah, it's on there, but we're not gonna abide by it. Does that make sense?
Are you talking the resolution of how much is in unassigned funds?
Yeah, and we can, it's easy to take care of. It's just, I just think we
So
gotta.
we'll work on that. Why don't you send that out? And then I will, actually, at the next board meeting, I'll just say, hey, this is what I'm working towards for the reorganizational meeting, not reorg. Strategic planning meeting, and this is the plan, so here, I think you're the only one who hasn't gotten a book of the Robert's Rules of Order.
I got a piece of paper here.
Yeah, but like, we all get a book at one point, have I read?
I've got some extra
I
ones.
can.
Oh, you do?
I don't know if I got a book.
Okay,
I bought myself that.
I got like the little.
why don't you see if we have any extras, and then I will, and then be like, hey, in all of your spare time, peruse it, see if you have any questions, or even if it's not in the book, see if you have any questions, and then we can go through all
Let me
that.
ask a question. Do we follow Robert Rules of Order? Because there's umpteen, I don't know if I want to call them versions, but I thought I had understood that we follow a form of Robert's Rules of Orders, but not
Not
to
every,
the, like the Senate version or the House of
Right.
I feel like
Representative
that's
version.
probably too far. It's in our ordinance.
Your
that we
sheet,
follow it.
your sheet that you gave me broke it down to what part we follow,
Yes.
I believe, so.
Yeah.
So we
The village,
follow
it's
a
like-
portion of it,
A
not
portion
the
of
whole
it.
thing.
Right.
That's what my understanding
Yeah.
is.
So I'll make sure that we get that,
Okay.
but, yeah.
It's hard to bring all that up, but I just think
Yeah.
cleaning that stuff up, and I love your idea of after the elections, kind of taking a look at that and getting it all cleaned up would be really good with
Yeah.
your board going forward.
So that was kind of 11A, B.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I gotta write all that down, hold on.
Thank you. It was good
Sorry, I
discussion.
No, that's all
Good,
right.
good discussion. But it's important that the trustees understand the methodology and the
Mhm.
functionality of the board and the committees. So, the only other old business I had was the ad hoc committee, which we already talked about, the DMI ad hoc committee. I think we will take a look at that in the future to see if whether it, when we get information on Janesville. New business, any other old business? New business, the only new business, the YMCA is, the demolition is ongoing, that property is, we need to work with the YMCA to see if it's gonna stay in their possession. Right now tentatively, I think it will, but what does a village want to try to help with that property? And what involvement does a village want, with that? They're still gonna keep that rear building and make it 24-hour access and redo the parking lot, but what is the purpose and the functionality of that demo building space?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's, I think that will come, I think probably through this committee, but so,
Are they asking for help or
well,
are they asking for us to help solicit it or what's the?
what would the village like to see done with that? Right now, they're gonna make green space. But is there a development opportunity or is there, leave it green space? What would the village like to see done with that? They'd like to. They're just trying to take care of it and get it.
Well,
More discussion on it.
yeah.
That's
So-
great that they asked.
Yeah, so my recommendation then would be have the YMCA come to either committee meeting and then once it's green space on that.
Yeah, I'll say, once it's down and cleared, then.
I will work with you on that. So.
Well, enough with the current for the rest.
But yeah, but I just, as new business, there's
Yeah.
a thought process there.
That it
We gotta put.
includes
track on
our,
there. Yes.
Yeah.
Includes the village.
Yeah. I like it.
Neat.
Discuss, number 13, discuss any correspondence. I have not gotten it. Anybody?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Future agenda items, chapter 6. We'll leave DMI. If we get anything, we'll probably keep Market Street if you get that business plan, at least an update. And then, we'll, look at possibly the wake ordinance. If we're to that point with the village meeting, the whole topic of the village meeting. So any other future agenda items that anybody knows of?
I just got a post-traumatic stress disorder reaction to you bringing up the wake boats.
I was like, what?
Well, we've got to keep trying to move.
No,
that
I know
forward.
you do. I was
It's,
trying to be humorous.
And there's a lot of moving parts. I mean, because I believe we got a public hearing. I mean, everybody's gotta have public hearings and DNR approval. I mean, the little bit I followed the room the other night, I mean, there's 3 steps. I mean, there's 3 steps after. I mean, this doesn't just go, we pass it. It's gotta get approved by the DNR and there's and I know trustee Humbol's a lot more, but it's not a one night. I mean, this will take months.
We
get
actually,
moving, right?
no municipality by themselves can make a final decision.
Correct. And we just need to do our.
As long as
due diligence.
everybody understands that.
Yeah.
It's not just gonna be, okay,
If we
good.
put it on the agenda, we're gonna get feedback, and it's just, we're trying to move the process forward. And see if there is interest in that, so.
Thank you.
Next meeting, anything else, future agenda items, I'm not hearing anything. Next meeting date is February 25th at 5 P.M. Are you okay with that?
Next, the 25th?
Yeah.
At 5, yeah.
Okay. And if there's no other thoughts, I will adjourn the meeting at 5:47. Thank you very much.